Writing a book is a fine achievement. Who cares if it's terrifically bad? As an author, this line speaks to me on a deep personal level.
Argo Font Book Review, Argo Font Book Review.
This review is commissioned through Patreon. Patreon! Please give me your money. Ivy Pocket is a 12-year-old maid with a penchant for causing chaos. For example, she tries to help the Countess Carbuncle at a high-profile banquet by shoving her head into a punch bowl. Ivy is fired, and the Countess flees the country to get away from her. Ivy gets a new job with the Duchess of Trinity. The Duchess has a magical gem known as the Clock Diamond. If you hold it, you can see the past or the future. Ivy is hired to go to England and present the Clock Diamond to Matilda Butterfield on her 12th birthday. The Duchess warns that dark forces are after the Clock Diamond, but Ivy figures she's just an old fathead who's making stuff up. Not long after that, the Duchess is murdered. On her trip, Ivy meets Geraldine Always, who insists on being her friend. Miss Always starts a casual conversation about good places to hide valuable jewelry, and she expresses an interest in seeing the Clock Diamond. What a friendly person! Miss Always talks to a small hooded creature. When Ivy asks about it, Miss Always says Ivy must be seeing things. But later, Ivy sees Miss Always with the hooded creature again. Ivy thinks for a while and decides Miss Always is clearly trying to reunite a long-lost son with his family. How nice of her! The Duchess's lawyer asks Ivy if anyone else knows she has the diamond. She doesn't mention Miss Always. Who cares if Miss Always lied about secret meetings with hooded creatures, and what does it matter if she knew the name of the Clock Diamond without being told? She's Ivy's friend, so she's obviously a good person. You can probably tell by now that Miss Always is the villain. Ivy is too stupid to realize this, and she'll continue to believe Miss Always is a wonderful person for the next 300 pages. You'll either find this premise hilarious or frustrating. Ivy continues to be oblivious when a group of hooded creatures attacks her. She fights them off and is miraculously unharmed after being smashed into the fireplace. Ivy meets the Butterfields. Matilda is a spoiled brat. Lady Elizabeth and Lady Amelia aren't much better. The only tolerable member of the family is Cousin Rebecca, an outcast with an odd number obsession. Rebecca has a secret package. Matilda steals it and gleefully tattletales that Rebecca did it again! Lady Amelia is upset that they can't get her to stop no matter what they try. But what is Rebecca doing? What's in the package? You're gonna have to wait 100 pages to find out. Ugh. Ivy bothers the ladies and Miss Always arrives. She and Ivy play pretend to find where the diamond is hidden, but they're interrupted by the governess, Miss Frost. Frost meets with Rebecca in secret, and she tells everyone the history of the Clock Diamond, which is obviously boring and unimportant. Who cares if it has magical powers? Speaking of magic powers, Ivy isn't hurt when someone pushes her down a flight of stairs, and she heals Miss Always' hand by touching it. She tries to duplicate the healing trick by stabbing one of the ladies, but it doesn't work, and the ladies hate her more than ever now. The mythology continues. The hooded creatures are called Locks. They travel in packs and serve a cruel mistress. They come from a land that was cursed by a plague. There's a prophecy that a girl called the Duel would come from another land to cure the plague and become their ruler. Ivy uses the Clock Diamond to have visions of her past. At age 5, Ivy was taken from her home and brought to an orphanage. Ivy can't believe she was kidnapped by an unknown villain. I thought this subplot would be a joke, like all of Ivy's other deductions. She saw a woman taking her outside. That doesn't mean she was kidnapped. But no, we're supposed to take this subplot seriously. Ivy was kidnapped when she was 5 years old. Rebecca confesses she pushed Ivy down the stairs because Miss Frost told her something. Frost and Rebecca are downright terrible at telling Ivy important plot information, so they don't explain anything beyond that. It's just, she told me something that made me want to push you down the stairs. End of conversation. A blonde woman talks to Ivy for a while, and Ivy discovers Rebecca's room is filled with clocks. That's what was in her secret package. Rebecca explains she's been obsessed with time ever since the doctor said her mother has a year left to live. Rebecca's dead mother is the blonde woman that Ivy talked to. Rebecca's desperate for more information, but Ivy doesn't think it's a big deal that she talked to a ghost. After all, the Duchess's ghost has showed up a few times to bother her, and she's just a mean fathead. Really, talking to ghosts isn't as interesting as you'd think. On the day of the ball, the lawyer arrives and warns Ivy not to give the diamond to Matilda. Not long after, we learn it was his ghost talking to Ivy. The lawyer was killed by the culprit earlier today. That was a neat twist. Miss Always tries to convince Ivy to run away with her and the necklace. Ivy loves the idea of having a real family, but the Duchess's ghost forces her to stay. There's an action sequence where 4 locks steal the diamond. Ivy chases after them, there's a big fight in Rebecca's room. Ivy recovers the diamond and jumps onto a chandelier for safety. She falls into Matilda's 5-story birthday cake and completely ruins the ball. The diamond gives Ivy another vision. The woman who took her to the orphanage? It was Miss Frost! Ivy confronts Frost, who explains she didn't kidnap Ivy. Ivy was abandoned in a poorhouse after her mother died. Frost was rescuing Ivy. She took Ivy to the orphanage so Ivy could have a decent upbringing. On Ivy's first day in the orphanage, she hit her head and she completely forgot everything, just so we could have this storyline. There is a showdown on the roof. It turns out Miss Frost and Miss Always are both from the other world. They've been searching for the clock diamond for years. Frost wants to protect it, while Always wants it for evil. Specifically, she wants to murder a bunch of people in this world in order to save her home world. Always would have killed Ivy a long time ago, but she didn't because Ivy is the main character. She didn't because Ivy is the duel. Ivy gives the clock diamond to Matilda. As you might have guessed, it's a trick. The diamond kills anyone who wears it. The Duchess plotted to kill Matilda as part of a revenge scheme against Lady Elizabeth, who stole the Duchess's fiancé decades ago. Tragically, Rebecca steals the diamond and puts it on herself because she thinks the diamond will allow her to see ghosts just like Ivy does. Rebecca dies instantly. If the diamond kills its wearer instantly, how is Ivy able to wear it so much? Frost explains the necklace can't kill Ivy because she's already dead. Or half dead, she's not sure which. I have lots of questions about this plot twist. How did Ivy die? When did she die? Why doesn't she remember her death? She aged 7 years in the orphanage. How does a dead person age? These questions aren't answered, but we are told that Ivy's death is the reason why she sees ghosts and why she can't be hurt. You can't die when you're already dead. Frost has found a family of coffin makers that are willing to adopt Ivy. It figures coffin makers are okay with adopting dead people. Ivy goes to the address, hoping she will have a normal life from now on. Well, she can't have a normal life if she's dead, but you know what I mean. The end. Post-book follow-up. This is a funny book, but it's definitely British humor. There are many scenes where the joke is Ivy the maid is being incredibly rude to the nobility. How improper! Another running joke is Ivy making up wild stories about her parents, and Ivy comparing herself to random things. I preferred the off-the-wall humor myself. I didn't really enjoy it when Ivy was being mean to other people. I liked the first and last quarters of this book, but the middle half was a little tedious. I had trouble getting through it. I lost my place a few times. It's mostly Miss Frost and Rebecca sneaking around, keeping secrets from Ivy, even though it would have made far more sense if Frost told Ivy everything from the beginning. The fact that the slow segment makes up the majority of the book is my biggest beef with the story. It feels like the book is too long. I probably would have enjoyed it better if the book was, say, a third shorter. I give Anyone But Ivy Pocket a 4 out of 10.